Tonight, in our Art Beat segment, we tell you about a unique way to experience the ballet. The Ballet Arizona's Topia is back this season. It's a night of dining and ballet under the open skies at the Desert Botanical Garden. Ballet Arizona director Ib Anderson's ballet was created specifically for the garden and is performed on a giant 80-foot stage. Mr. Anderson joins me now to discuss the performance, which runs through June 1st. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Yep.
You created this thing out of whole cloth. How unique is that to have a director create a new ballet?
Well, I'm a choreographer, so I've been doing ballets for like more than 30 years, so it's not so unique. What's unique is that it's a site-specific place, and it's unique that it's an 80-foot stage. Normally a stage is like 40 feet. And then we are out in the desert, which is, as you know, very unusual. It's also staged every night, specific where when the sun goes down. It's right after the sun goes down, and the sun goes down between those two buttes in the middle of it. So the show actually starts, I would say, with the sunset, and in some ways you can say that's maybe the most spectacular of the show, but it sets up the mood of what comes next, which is dancing, and it's Beethoven's Sixth Symphony, Pastoral Symphony, on a stage that is 32 inches high, so if you sit a little bit elevated, it will look like you're dancing. You see the dancers dancing in the desert. So I think all the combination together makes for more than it would be if it was just a ballet in a symphony hall.
Yeah, a symphony hall directs the audience's eyes to a single point, or even a single dancer. It seems like on an 80-foot stage, it's even hard for the eye to take in everything that you're presenting.
Well, and it's sort of meant to be like that. It's more like how your eye look when you look at landscape, where you look at this place here over and this place there. And then we are also able to do with lighting, we're actually able to lit the Papagio buttes, which is like over a mile away. And we lit up the landscape, certain parts. So you see trees that are actually literally like a mile away. So that, I think, is quite amazing, I must say.
When you were there, especially last year as it was presenting, did you watch the audience watch the ballet? Did you see how they were?
Well, I saw all the shows, but I'm sitting usually all the way in the back, so I see the backs of the audience. I think, you know, when you are out there in nature, and especially at sunset, it does something to you in the sense that it quiets you down. And you sort of, it's like a little bit like meditation. And then you have, on top of that, when the sun sets down, you have all the birds flying around. And there also, this time, there's a lot of birds flying around at night. There wasn't last year. I don't know what kind of birds they are, but obviously they are night birds.
They heard about how good the show is.
Well, they get attracted to the lights, so you have them flying in over. So, I mean, all those things becomes part of the experience. And the moon looks different each night, and the stars are different. And sometimes we have a helicopter flying over, you know, so... but it becomes part of the show, and yeah.
As you were conceiving of the choreography, did you place yourself mentally out in the desert, or did you actually physically walk through where you thought it might be staged?
No. I mean, the problem is our studio is only 40 feet wide, so when I choreographed it, we actually were out in the parking lot a bit to see if it was possible what I was doing, you know, because we couldn't fit it in the studios. So, and for most part, it was maybe like 3 or 4 things I need to change. What was the question again?
Well, you're saying like how much the desert inspired if you had to be in a mental place to think what this would look like against the desert backdrop.
It is about nature, but then the music is about nature. But it's also inspired by, I mean, Topia means in Roman time, meant landscape painting and also landscaping, architecture and landscape. And that's sort of what I'm after, is painting the landscape and also architecture in the landscape.
And the piece of music too is it. I mean, Beethoven seems like it would be difficult to write or to choreograph too.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't ever dare to choreograph to this music if it wasn't because it's out here. Because of the vastness of the nature, somehow the music seems right. The music is, I mean, it's one of the greatest pieces of music ever written. And it's huge in scope. But somehow being out there, it's a good balance.
And I know in a story in the Sunday Republic, you told my colleague Carrie Lingle that you think this show could travel, not just be in the desert, but move.
I would love to see it in Greece.
And you also mentioned that it would travel pretty easily as far as packing.
Well, I mean, the costumes could be, you know, in a Safeway plastic bag, you know, because they basically don't wear anything, you know, both out of practicality, but also out of what I wanted to do. You know, I mean, it's last night was close to 100, so
yeah,
you know,
so you want them to faint on stage.
They need some natural air conditioning. So,
Ib Anderson, thanks for joining us this
Thank you.
evening. Friday on Arizona Horizon, it's the Journalist Roundtable. Bipartisan funding feuding could mean trouble for passing the state's budget, and Governor Brewer pushes a proposal to simplify the state's tax system. That's tomorrow. Ted will be back for the Journalist Roundtable. Have a good evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.